YouTube. What's good to it's your boy Crime Dotty. Today we got he kept her in a box and only took her out to commit horrors. Now this is one of them ones. This is story explained. He do drop bangers. I subscribe to him, so that means he drop bangers. On about 25,000, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, bro. It's one of them ones. You know we post these crime videos every day at 8 p.m. ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Every day for the rest of the year, boy. I got y'all.
The news with her abductor. When they saw no reports about her, he turned to her and said, "Well, nobody misses you."
We were always together. My girlfriend was Kara Robinson. She was my first love. She meant the world to me.
Kara called me daddy. She was daddy's little girl.
Oh.
She was always...
I thought it was a diff. I was like, dang, she had two niggas? But that was her dad, my bad.
My girlfriend was Kara Robinson.
Why did he say that? She called me daddy. Like,
she was my first love. She meant the world to me.
Kara called me daddy. She was daddy's little girl.
She was always very huggy, kissy, squishy kind of person. I had people that tried to get me to put her in pageants. She didn't want to do it. She was a tomboy.
Her hometown of Lexington, South Carolina, was a safe place for Kara Robinson. This all changed on June 24th, 2002, when helping out at a
and that was before I was born. Damn. I was born a couple months after.
Heather had just gotten her driver's license. Kara wanted to go spend the night at Heather's house. They were going to go to the lake the next day. They were excited because they could actually go to the lake without having to be chauffeured.
The two, however, never reached the lake on that day. While they prepared for their trip, Heather called her mother to discuss their plans. Heather's mother asked them to water the plants before leaving, and since her friend wanted to take a shower, Kara volunteered to do the chore. Still in her pajamas, Kara watered the plants outside Heather's home. Moments later, a car pulled into the driveway, making her think it belonged to a visitor for Heather's family. The driver wore a clean button-down shirt and a baseball cap.
In front of the house?
Like a regular person. He held up pamphlets for her, claiming that he was giving them away to the neighborhood. He asked where her parents were, so Kara admitted that this was her friend's house and that Heather's parents were out. As soon as he confirmed this, the man closed in on Kara, pretending to give her the pamphlet he was holding. To her horror, the man pulled out a gun with his other hand.
Her parents never taught her what to say in the situation. A random nigga pulls up, you just say, "Oh, my parents just not home. It's just me and her here." Are you serious? I'm teaching my kids right, bro. Like, what the hell did I just hear?
And aimed it at her neck, ordering her to go into his car quietly. With a towering man holding a gun to her, Kara had no choice but to do as she was told. The man led her to the back seat of his car, where a large plastic container waited for her. Kara climbed into the container, allowing the man to close it and hide her inside. Her captor then drove the car, and all Kara could do was memorize every turn he made and the sounds that she heard, praying that all this information would help her get back home. Moments later, Heather finally got out of the shower and noticed that something was wrong. Kara was nowhere to be found, and the water hose she'd been using was still running. Panicked, she called Kara's mother.
I was at lunch, and then I got a call from Heather, and she told me Kara was missing.
Kara's parents had been divorced, so her father was working in Georgia when his ex-wife called him to tell him that their daughter was gone.
And I said, "Gone? What does that mean?" People around me said my face just went blank, white.
Soon, the police were called in to investigate. Luckily, they had an eyewitness. A neighbor reportedly saw Kara getting into a green Trans Am vehicle.
The neighbor didn't see anything unusual, didn't see Kara struggling, nothing that would concern him at that point.
However, the statement made the police consider if Kara had just run away.
Nope.
What do you mean run away?
Gunpoint.
Since reports of teens running away are common in their department, the police just advised Kara's mother to go home and wait for her daughter to call. Despite this, her loved ones knew that Kara wouldn't just leave without telling anyone. During all these, Kara's captor pulled into the side of the road where there were no eyewitnesses. He opened the container's lid and calmly told his captive that he was going to bind and gag her. Kara made no sound since, at any moment, he could still pull the trigger on her. They continued driving for several more minutes before the man pulled into a driveway. Inside the box, Kara heard people outside, but the man warned her against making any sound as he hauled her container out of the car and into his apartment. Finally, the captive was released from the box and into the man's actual home. He removed her restraints,
Tripping, nigga. Right when I heard a voice
and could shoot her if she.
Nigga, right when I hear a voice by the box, I'm screaming, nigga. Help me! This nigga got me in the box, nigga. If you wanna kill me, you gonna kill me right the fuck here in front of everybody, nigga. If you gonna kill me, you gonna kill me right the fuck here. They be too scary, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all let them do what they want. Like that's no. You gotta make them do what they don't want to do. You gotta make them do what they don't want to do.
Ever tried to escape or get help? The man then led her to the bedroom, where he gave her the shooter of she's actual home. He removed her restraints, reiterating that he had a gun and could shoot her if she ever tried to escape or get help. The man then led her to the bedroom, where he gave her the rules she must follow. She must remember that he always had a gun with him, and that she had to listen to what he said, or there'd be consequences. The man also interviewed his captive about her life. He listed down her details, asking whose house she was in, if she had a boyfriend, and if she had experience being with someone. When her answers appeased him, Kara knew.
Bro, why did all these freaky ass niggas ask the same exact question? They be asking these little ass girls, do you have a boyfriend? Like, are you, bro? It's always the same question. These niggas need to be studied and popped. Study these niggas and then test every man for their studies, and every man that had their shit, pop them. Fuck.
What he was about to do. She knew what abductors like him intended for their female captives. With both a knife and a gun in his possession, the man took her innocence repeatedly that day. The captive could only focus on one thing: survive. During this, Kara's loved ones desperately searched for her. The police still believed that she had run away, so her mother couldn't do anything but wait and hope that she'd call. Her father had also driven all the way back to South Carolina, constantly calling the detective in charge of his daughter's case for updates, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Kara's then-boyfriend felt that the police were wasting time by labeling her as a runaway, so he and his friends drove around town, searching for a green Trans Am. However, this led them nowhere. While they all had no clue where Kara was, they knew and feared what might be happening to her in those moments. After forcing himself onto her, the captor made Kara take a shower. This was when she began to gather as much information about her abductor as she could. She noticed feminine products there, particularly a hairbrush with long red strands. This meant that a woman shared that apartment with the man who had just taken advantage of her. With this in mind, Kara knew that learning more about her captor was the only way she could make sure he'd pay for his crime if she somehow escaped with her life. She gained his trust, slowly learning more about him. While he was making dinner, she even offered to help out in the kitchen and used this as a way to discreetly peek into his letters and notes on his refrigerator, memorizing the names of his doctor and dentist to help identify him later on. Appeased by the clever woman's behavior, the man was polite.
I would have poisoned that nigga.
Towards her. He started making casual conversations with her about his pets and his time in the Navy, where he was already discharged. They sat on the couch together, talking as if they were acquaintances in a normal situation. Despite this seemingly friendly behavior, Kara wasn't fooled by his intentions. 8 hours after her abduction, he made her watch the news to see if someone was looking for her. When her name didn't come up, he used this to bring her spirit down.
Yo, it's the same. Bro, it's like what? It's like the same exact shit. Bro, they do the same exact thing. It's like the same. It's the same nigga kidnapping, like, bro. It's crazy, bro. I heard this. It's like I heard the same shit before. These niggas need to be studied, bro. I'm telling y'all need to study them, bro.
That nobody misses her. The man also forced his captive to watch recordings of sensual acts, making her describe them as if he intended for her to mimic them for him. All the while, Kara just acted calmly, making him think she was okay with all these, so that he would let his guard down. Her abductor even promised that he'd let her go eventually, but warned that if she told the police what he did, she'd forever be shamed for what happened to her. What he didn't know was that Kara was too smart to rely her fate in his hands.
She
She
dumb?
knew it was too early for the media to report her abduction. She knew her family was looking
Think
for
she
her.
care? Maybe she gonna tell on you, boy. The fuck? You think she care about that? Talking about they're gonna look at you a certain way for what happened to you. Who? So what? You did it. Telling on you, bitch.
She knew she had to fight for her own survival. Later that day, the man placed her back in the box to make a phone call. Still keeping him calm, she did as she was told, but being trapped inside the box again caused her to have a panic attack. The walls closed in, and she was heaving her breath, alarming her captor. He opened the lid and was visibly angry at her for making noises. She told him she couldn't breathe inside, as if giving a small act of kindness to contrast the horrors he'd put her through. The man kept the lid open as long as she promised not to scream. He then continued with his phone call, and Kara found out that he was talking to his wife, the red-headed woman who lived in that same apartment. Her captor was a married man, and he took her to keep him company while his wife was away. As night fell, the man used medication to prevent his captive from escaping. He also cuffed her to the bed frame, bound her legs, and slept.
Exactly. She would not have done shit if she would have screamed when somebody walked by with her in the damn box, bro. He nigga would not have done shit.
Next to her, Kara knew the perfect time to run was when he was asleep, but the medication he gave her was effective. She was too weak and drowsy to move, so in the end, she slept next to the man who took her. Like Kara, her parents felt helpless as the day ended. The police were still not considering her case as an abduction, and all they could do was pray that Kara would somehow make it back home.
I'd repeat it over and over and over. Get out, Kara, get away. She would hear me.
Heartbreaking. Just thinking of the possibility, I may never see her again.
Your one mission in life when you are a parent is to protect your child. Sometimes you can't do that.
To her luck, Kara woke up first the next morning. The nightmare she was in was real, and seeing that her captor was still fast asleep, she had her chance to escape. With the man still asleep next to her, Kara did her best to remove the clasp that locked her handcuffs to the bed frame. When she couldn't reach it, she used her teeth, slowly twisting the clasp to undo them. Finally, her hands were free, so she gingerly removed the binds on her legs and made her way downstairs as quietly as possible. When she reached the front door, she discovered that a metal accordion door was blocking her path. Opening it would be loud enough to wake her captor, and his bedroom window was facing outside. Once she opened it, he'd wake up and be able to shoot her from his window. Despite this, Kara knew she had to take the chance. Even if she got shot, someone would notice and find them. This was her only chance.
Now you want to get
As
noticed
possible,
and shot.
she threw the doors open and ran for her life. Immediately, she searched for someone to help and saw a car driving by. Kara ran to the vehicle and told the passengers that she had just escaped from her kidnapper.
Nigga, but they be having actors for these stories. It's crazy, bro.
She pointed her captor's house to them, asking them to remember which house it was before begging them to take her to the police station. At last, Kara saw the house where she was held growing smaller through the rearview mirror. What she didn't know was that justice wasn't within reach yet. Kara was dropped off at the Richland County Sheriff's Department, where she reported her kidnapping to the only deputy present at the time.
I held my arm up to show him my handcuffs, and I said, "My name is Kara Robinson. I was kidnapped, and I escaped."
At first, the deputy taking her statement doubted her testimony despite seeing the handcuffs still on her wrist.
Actually done what I set out to do, and now I'm,
This cop is dumb as hell. Smack that nigga and fire him.
being treated like I'm lying about this.
However, when they called her mother to report that they had her daughter, the relief in the woman's voice proved that Kara just escaped her kidnapper. The officer then gave the phone to Kara, allowing the mother and daughter to finally hear each other's voices after the last harrowing hours.
And she said, "Mama, come get me." And I said, "Baby, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'll be right there."
The investigation to capture her kidnapper immediately began. Before going to the hospital to document her condition, Kara was taken back to the location of her abductor's house in Columbia, South Carolina. However, given how fast things happened, neither she nor the people who drove her to the station remembered which house she came from. The houses in the apartment complex looked the same to Kara. Luckily, the property manager was around. Kara gave him the description of her captor, recalling the pets he had and the long red hair from the bathroom, which she assumed was his wife's. The property manager recognized the couple and directed them to the correct house. Officers were gathered around the home of a potentially armed kidnapper. When they received no response from the man, the property manager assisted the police in opening the door, only for them to discover that the kidnapper had already escaped. With Kara's statement matching the house's contents, the police confirmed that this was the location where she was held. What they discovered there, however, shocked them.
That nigga woke up, his heart dropped.
Born in Columbia, South Carolina, Richard Mark Evanitz was a Navy veteran with 2 medals for good conduct. He was honorably discharged in 1992.
He's still a freak.
To Spotsylvania, Virginia, before returning to South Carolina with his wife. People who knew him believed he was an average blue-collar working man, but Kara's escape proved that he was hiding a much sinister side. Evidence kept a footlocker in his home, and its contents revealed that Kara was not his first victim. Photographs, videotapes, items of clothing, and notes of his planned abductions gave the officers insight into the man's predatory history. But the news clippings in his possession led them to discover that Richard Mark Evanitz was a serial killer. In September 1996, Sophia
What the fuck?
Silva was last seen doing her homework on her front
What?
Her body was discovered in a swamp a month later. Almost a year later, sisters Kristen and Catherine Lisk were taken from
And
their
they couldn't find this nigga?
yard and were found dead in a river 5
Cause y'all thought he was a good guy? Cause he was in the Navy and shit? Fuck that nigga, boy.
days later.
At that point, we all knew that it was probably a lot
Be the
bigger
craziest
than
niggas.
Kara being kidnapped.
These cases shocked the community of Virginia, with parents fearing for their children, knowing that a kidnapper was on the loose.
Nigga, I had a boy play basketball with my whole life. Good fucking dude, no problem. He go to the military, get crazy, come back. Pop a nigga broad daylight on camera. In front of the checkers. Nigga. Those be the craziest niggas.
The investigation connected the two crimes, but despite following several leads, Silva's and the Lisk sisters' cases went unsolved. That is, until Kara's escape. The news clippings of both incidents were found in Evanitz's locker, miles away from where they happened. Officers knew there was no other reason for Evanitz to have kept these unless he was connected to them, so the Richland County Sheriff's Department communicated with Spotsylvania County and the FBI to expand their investigation. Police soon found Kristen Lisk's fingerprints inside Evanitz's car, 5 years after her death. Fibers from the handcuffs on Kara and the carpet in Evanitz's home also matched those found in the other victims. This proved that Evanitz had taken and killed at least 3 other women.
Learned about the other girls he kidnapped and murdered. Had Kara not escaped, she too would have been murdered.
There's no doubt in my
ultimately.
mind.
Learning that a serial killer was
Sure.
on the loose, the manhunt for Evanitz was heightened. His wife and mother, who were at Disney World at the time of the crime, were called in, completely shocked by the news. Meanwhile, officers found the green Trans Am at his mother's home, discovering that the man had used his
So
mother's
he didn't even go to Disneyland with his wife and mother?
The manhunt for Evanitz was heightened. His wife and mother, who were at Disney World at the time of the crime, were called in, completely shocked by the news.
They didn't even go.
Meanwhile, officers found the green Trans Am at his mother's home, discovering that the man had used his mother's car to abduct the teen. The next day, Evanitz's family arrived to be interviewed by the police. His wife was in disbelief at the allegations against her husband, believing that he was a good man. However, she did confirm that the footlocker belonged to him and testified how her husband prevented her from ever opening it. Contrary to this, Evanitz's ex-wife testified that the man had disturbing fantasies involving abductions, which he'd kept from his new spouse. At the time of Silva's captivity, Evanitz's ex-wife was on vacation, and they had already separated when he captured the Lisk sisters. His sister also shared that their father was a violent and controlling man, and her brother had a similar behavior growing up. He harmed his sister when they were young and was involved in break-ins. Evanitz was also arrested for presenting himself to a teen in 1987 and admitted in his testimony that he liked pleasing himself in front of women. These statements solidified the case against Evanitz.
But this nigga should have been in jail, bro.
But his sister had one more thing to confess. The man had contacted her during his escape and admitted to her that he'd committed more crimes than he can remember. He told her that he had taken his wife's car and was staying in Florida, where he hoped his sister could meet him to help. Officers were quickly sent to capture the man, but when they got there, he was already gone. Despite this, Evanitz tried to meet with his sister at an IHOP in Florida on June 27, 2002. Police intervened, and this began a high-speed chase that ended with Evanitz crashing his car.
Why they keep saying...
Ordered by officers and K-9 dogs.
What is this? What is this right here? Is this a body? And why did... What? Why? First of all, how did they know he's meeting up with his sister, and why they... I don't know, bro.
Ended with Evanitz. Ivonitz tried to meet with his sister at an IHOP in Florida on June 27, 2002. Police intervened, and this began a high-speed chase that ended with Ivonitz crashing his car. Cornered by officers and K-9 dogs, Ivonitz took the only escape that was available, through the barrel of his own gun.
He's a hoe. No wonder why there's a body right there. This nigga's a hoe, man. You did all that and you don't want to take responsibility for what the fuck you did.
Captor took the coward's way out. Kara was disappointed. She had survived and was recovering in the presence of her loved ones. All she wanted was justice, to take the man to court and watch his face as he realized that choosing her that day was his downfall. Still, the discovery of Ivonitz's connection to the Silvas and Lisk's cold cases proved to be invaluable. The notes in Ivonitz's home also linked him to other similar cases, particularly the death of a Baltimore student in 1996. The evidence is still being examined and no matches have been made to date. Police are also checking if Ivonitz committed a series of attacks in the early 1990s. Not only did Kara survive her own captivity, but she also gave closure to the families of the previous victims and ensured that Ivonitz would not take another innocent woman again. However, being a survivor wasn't easy.
But didn't want anybody to treat me like I was made of glass.
Kara used to be very affectionate. The child I got back was not huggy, not kissy, but it was beyond devastating. You can't hug your kid.
Despite returning to
What?
Not huggy, not kissy, but it was beyond devastating. You can't hug your kid.
Despite returning to her family, it was understandable that Kara needed her space. For months, she struggled with her emotions about what happened, and to cope with the idea that had she not escaped, she would have met the same fate as the other victims that Ivonitz took. Still, Kara connected with the families to whom she gave closure. This helped her accept that she survived, and that she could continue with her life. Her courage and ingenuity caught the attention and respect of Richland County Sheriff Lott, who took Kara under his wing and treated her like one of his own daughters.
She was a survivor, and she was a fighter, and she was a warrior. Make sure that she continued to be in that survivor. And so we bonded.
Through the help of her family, friends, and new mentor, Kara fortified her belief that she wasn't a victim, she was a victor. However, she also knew that she was only one of the lucky few who escaped their nightmares and lived to tell about it.
That is crazy,
With that
bro.
in mind, Kara chose a path that would allow her to help
Oh, I
others.
thought that's how much they gave her. I'm like, bro, that's it? She just got blitz. I gave her that much, but I think that's for college. I think.
Years
Is
later,
it?
Kara chose a path
Task
that would
force?
allow her to help others like her. Years later, she needed a summer job, so Sheriff Lott gave her an administrative position in his department. Kara worked at the same police station that helped solve her case, even after she went to college to become a teacher.
W.
Her time there inspired her to find the best of both careers, so Kara soon entered the police academy and became a school resource officer. During her time at the academy, Kara kept her experience a secret. This was until an instructor started teaching about her case. With her story out, the academy awarded her for bravery and courage,
The W.
recognizing how she overcame a serial killer years before she began her training. Today, Kara Robinson's Chamberlain is married and raising her sons, while continuing to empower other survivors like her.
I think that to say you're a victim, then someone took something from you. I refuse to give that man that power. I am who I am because of what happened to me, sure, but it doesn't define who I am by any means.
Man, it's crazy, bro. At least she was able to get away from that, because, yeah, that nigga was on something. But I wish that nigga, bro, he lame as hell, bro. When they want to take the easy way out, bro, even though it's not really the easy way out. The fuck? I thought I heard the door crack. But that boy's finna rot. I'm around 25,000, man. I'm out this bitch.